Welcome back to Half-A Hot Rods. If you haven't been here before, my name's Adam. I'm a guy with no particular amount of talent, no big budget, not a lot of time, but we're figuring out how to have fun with these old cars and trucks without all those things. If you haven't been here before, this is my 57 Chevy pickup. It is from the firewall down, all 1997 GMC C2500. So we're in the process of combining those two bodies, making everything work. This week, we're going to make the 57 inner fenders. These guys work with the 97 firewall and then come around and make sure that the 97 engine components, electronics, all that fit nicely on the 57 fenders and try and make everything play nice together. We're going to figure out a little bit of how to fabricate some brackets. One, we want to make it look good, and then the other one, we just want to make it so you can't see it when we're all done. With the end goal being that we go to a car show next week, it's kind of a fundraiser, and see how we do there. So come on along, let's see how it went. So this is a chunk I cut out of the other side. I'm going to use it for a kind of a height gauge, at least a starting point. And I've marked at least one beginning and end point. There's also a bracket sticking out of the 97 cab that I'm going to have to trim off. So I think we came to here. Yeah. Because I can feel this line on that fender, and it's cut right to there. So I think we'll cut to our lines widthwise along there.
Rinse, repeat.
Well, when the battery died, we were trying to figure out if I could delete the ABS. And the answer is yes, I can. It's pretty simple, but I can't do it without going to town and getting parts. and then I got to bleed the brakes again, and it's a process. And I would like to take this to a car show Saturday morning. Starting to question whether that's going to happen now. We'll see. But now I guess I'm just going to try and temporarily package all this. We got 10 pounds of stuff I need to put in a 5-pound sack because there's just not as much room under here as there would be under a 97 engine bay. So that's where we're at with that. I need to probably start by, I'm going to see if I can take this stand off the bottom of this fuse box and if that leaves anything exposed or not, because if it doesn't, that gives us more room. I kind of like to see if I can take the controller part off the ABS because it's not doing anything anyway. ABS didn't work in the old truck. If I could take this part off the top, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. It'd give us a little more room. This bracket is, I don't know exactly how it works, but we could probably get the computer out of the bracket and make a little more room. So it's just going to be a lot of trial and error here. Really with the ultimate goal being just a temporary fix to tie stuff out of the way so that I can still move the truck around and do what I need to do. But I need to hook the wiring back up to the cab because without that hooked up I can't do anything, so it's pointless to mess with the rest of this. So, yeah, we got a whole bunch of trial and error to do here. We'll put you back in the tripod here and get back to it. Kind of wondering, I saw a guy at a car show with an 8.1 swap that just stuck his PCM on top of his engine. And I don't know where that came from. I don't know why we couldn't do that if we had to. We certainly have the hood space, I think. As long as it would reach everything, because this has got to reach here. Which is probably not going to, because that has to reach the firewall. So, I guess we better hook our firewall stuff back up, which means getting the fender back out, and then see where we're at. Much as I don't want to, I think we got to call it a night, go feed the dog, eat some dinner, and come back to this. But I think I might have figured out a solution for the computer, and then we can just set the fuse box on top of it temporarily, and just kind of zip tie and bungee cord the ABS module out of the way until I get around to getting rid of it, because that's what needs to happen with that. So we'll be back tomorrow, maybe, or the next day. Alright, so next up is going to be getting the fuse box mounted and the computer mounted. As you can see, we've already got the ABS out of the way. I guess I should tell you about that. Yeah, the ABS was not a huge deal once I figured it out. I went to the junkyard and got a proportioning valve, which is That's aluminum, it won't stick to that. The portioning valve is this guy right here. And there was one for the ABS. There was two hoses coming off the hoses, I mean hard lines, coming off the master cylinder, like these guys. These two right here. And then there were 3 coming out of it, 2 coming out of it. There were 3 coming out of it. I'll come back to that. So now we're working on getting the fuse box mounted and the PCM mounted on this fender. You can see I kind of held the computer where I wanted it, drew a chalk line around it. Not because it's dead, but because it's very much alive. There's a bracket, a plastic one that this used to mount on in the OBS truck. And that has been removed. And it's over here. And this had some legs on the bottom of it, which I cut off flat. And then I've been doing a little drawing on here. And I think I've got this pretty well mapped out. We're going to bolt this to this metal plate. I'm going to cut these where the X's are off, bend this down, and it'll go against there, just like that. And then we'll bend the sides down. I don't know if we'll have a line with some speed holes or if we'll just have a radius. I haven't really decided yet. So I just got to get this cut out and then figure out what that angle is going to be, and then we can decide how to do the fancy stuff on the edges, because one of these will be real easy to see when you open the hood, the other one will be behind it, and I think we may have limited space, so I don't know. I mean, we're going to have limited space because of the brake lines and all that, so that side may not run all the way out at all. That side may only go out to like here. But like I said, you won't be able to see it. The front side, I want to make it look nice because it'll be hanging out right there. So let's get to cutting and grinding and bending and see what we get. We know that angle is not going to be a 90, it's going to be less than that, so we got to figure that out first, then we can figure out the other piece. I was hoping I could just bend that in my hands here, but it's not quite light enough for that. Right back. Ooh, that's pretty darn close. Okay. Let's work on folding our sides down and trimming them out, and then we'll weld them and do whatever decorative stuff we're going to do and go from there. Basically professional. No.
No, 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 no.
Not even close. Oh, that is crooked AF. We could probably beat that straight, but see him in there? That whole thing's warm. There it is, cockeyed. How are we going to undo that? Probably made it real strong by welding it together crooked.
You idiot!
Shoot. Seriously, what are we going to do there? Because that is wonky. It needs to go. That's really hot at the top where I was welding it. I think I need to twist the whole thing. Can I do that? Actually, is it going to matter? Because I'm going to cut most of this backside off. And then we can just twist the top where we want it. Maybe. More better-ish. Let's cut some of this off before we get to too much shaping. I guess let's go hold this up to the truck and make sure it's not a complete failure yet. Yeah, that definitely is going to have to be chopped way down. But I think our overall shape is real close. Just do some artwork here on the side of this, trim the back side down, and then play with it some more. Let's see, so this is the fender side, this is the other side. We want to leave a little lip on there, but not a whole lot. In fact, I wonder if we should just do like a kind of an angle back. Do that. Just start there and see if it fits that way. See if we need to cut out more. Let's try that. Be right back. So it does hit the hard brake lines right about there. I think we're just going to zing it back, make a nice radius back here, and call it good. What do you think? Not bad for no plasma cutter. Let's go test fit that side, and we'll play with the other side. And again, I don't think it needs to be super strong because it was held up by a couple little plastic legs before, so I think we're already increasing the strength level. Yeah, we could go way back with it now. We've got other clearance issues up here that we're not going to be able to go back, so I think that will work. Now let's figure out what we want to do with this side to make it. Now let's figure out what we want to do with this side to make it pretty-ish. Probably should start by making it all one uniform size because I think it's just crooked as it could be right now. Yeah, pretty crooked. Clean it off. Start fresh. Now that should be good and hot, and the marker probably won't. Oh yeah, she's warm. Won't do much. Just grind that because I'll get carried away and cut too much. That's better. Those are too big. How big of a hole do we want to make? And how many? That looks like a good place for 3 holes. If we were in the center this way, this is 2 1/4, so that'd be 1 1/8. Okay. And this is angled, but the shorter end is 6 inches, so the middle would be 3. And then the middle of 3 would be 1 1/2. Why doesn't that look right? 1 1/2, 3, 4 1/2, 6. Okay. Let me go find some little circles. 7/8 big enough? What size is that? 3/4? What size is this? This looks like it is chewed up. We probably don't want to use that one. What size is this? 1 1/8. How would that look? Let's look. Wouldn't leave much in the middle, would it? Man, I better do better than eyeballing, because that looks like garbage. I'm just playing around here. Those are too close together. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So what if from the 3 we went out 2 inches on either side to 1 and 5. That look better? No, because that one's going to go off the edge. Or do we just go smaller? Do like a... Or do we just hog them with a hog bit until we're happy with how they look? Bump, bump. Eraser time. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go smaller and do 3. We'll do 7/8. And if we want to go bigger, we can open them up with the hog bit. That's what we're doing. We're doing it. This drill might be dead, but we're going to try it one more time. Well, I don't know when the camera died, but I will tell you, I love speed holes. That just looks so cool. We'll clean them up a little bit too. I think from the other side maybe. Take the edge off of the grinder maybe, if we can get in there. And then we got to figure out what to do with this end. Probably just round her right off. Now we'll add a radius. Do we want a big one? Or do we want a small one? Probably a small one. Alright, we could start with a small one and then do a big one if we don't like it. Couldn't put your fingers right on where you just ground. It won't be hot. Yeah, it is. Woo, Nelly, that's warm. Who would have thought? Anybody with a brain. That's who. Let's go see how it fits. Because we're almost done for the night because my dog needs to eat and I need to eat. And I'm only working on about 4 hours of sleep, so I want to go to bed at a decent time. So here we go. That's going to be pretty good. Get our plastic piece. This is the original 97 bracket. So it just kind of snaps in on one side, bolts in on that side. Then this one, we would bolt the plastic bracket to the one we made, and it would sit right about there. And I think that will work just fine. We might have to trim the edge of this or move that out because we need to be able to get this plug out, I think. As long as we can move it around. Yeah, we could put it out there. And then everything will clear on this side. We can put that as high as we want. We just don't want it hitting the brake master. Yeah. I think that will work, ladies and germs. So we just gotta bolt the plastic and the metal together. We gotta paint the metal, drill holes for the mounting, and then bolt the plastic and metal together. Maybe not all in that exact order. We're back. It's the next morning, and I found some 1/4-inch bolts with Phillips heads on them, the rounded heads, so I don't think they'll hit the bottom of the fuse box. We're going to drill some holes in the plastic piece, and then transfer those holes over to the metal piece, and probably do a little more cleanup underneath because it's a little bit. It's got some WD-40 on it. Then we'll paint this, and while that's drying, we'll do a little more touch-up with the grinder. But while that's drying, then we'll work on marking and drilling and mounting the other piece that we need to on the fender well. The front 2 holes line it up the way I want it. The back 2 are not making it. So since the bolts have such big heads on them, I'm hopefully just going to open up the plastic a little bit, and then that'll get us where we want to be. It's not perfect. It's not probably the way a professional would do it, but I'm not a professional, and I'm working with what I got. Not only with materials and budget, but also with talent. So, you know, it is what it is. And when I'm done, nobody's got to know. I mean, except for me and you and the internet. Can't even tell. It's like I'm not even there. This one's closer, but it's still not right. Boom! Bracket. So there it is. There's what it'll look like from the front of the truck. The fuse box will sit in there. And yeah, I think it'll work. Can you tell I messed up? After you take the fuse box off, still can't tell. So I'll take it. I'll call that a win. I need to drill holes in the back of here for mounting on the firewall or on the fender well. So we'll do that. Then we'll clean it up a little bit, spray a little paint on it, and we'll get back to mounting the computer. This is the bracket that was attached to the computer under there, and this is about how it laid. If you picture the inner fender being like this, and the engine's where I'm standing, and that's where I drew my chalk line around the PCM. So, my initial plan was honestly just to drill these two holes, maybe a couple more in here, and do that, but since this has brackets here, now I kind of want to make a bracket that goes here and meets this sheet metal, and then it would be super solid, at least as solid as it would have been in 97, which is kind of generally what I try to do. If it was good enough for GM, it's good enough for me. So if I could make a couple of, even part of me wants to make one long one because it hangs off the edge here. Actually, we might have to go that way because there's nothing to tie it to here. And then just utilize these two holes. We could even weld the bolts to the brackets so we didn't have to fight them through. I don't know if I'll go that far. But yeah, make a bracket that's kind of a tight angle that fits here and over here, and then that's my text coming through my speaker. Yeah, and two bolts up here, and it's just like GM did it in 97, only it's on a 57 fender. So I just made this harder than it needed to be, but I think it'll be better than it needs to be in the end. So is it worth it? To me, it's worth it. Is it necessary? I wish I had some thinner sheet metal though, because this stuff's not real easy to bend. Yeah. If we go inch and a half, that's probably more than enough. That's going to make it a real tight bend. If we make it 11.5 inches long, 11 inches long, that's the width of this thing. Yeah. But it's all here so we can test fit it more easily. I'll tell you what I did mess up is not turning off my ringer, but also I didn't lay that bracket up there before I started painting it and mark the holes I drilled on here so I could drill them easy on the bench. Now I gotta wait for the paint to dry, set everything back in there, bolt this down, position it in order to mark it. So I made like 6 extra steps for myself.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Take this. I mean, that's oh here, because I'm sure it's not cut straight. That's the other thing I could do, is all I really need bent up is that section. So I could, oh, that'd be much easier to bend. And which way does it need to go? I mean, it could go under it, right? Yeah. Yeah, it could tuck under, then it would be harder to see. That would be much cleaner. If we just stuck it out and then went whoop. And if I only do the sections where the bolt holes are, that'd be much easier to bend. This is a group chat with all three of my children, my wife, and my son's wife, which still blows my mind that my son is married. Anyway, she took him, and it's all done. He's her problem now. Anyway, it's like having all the kids in the house again because you can't get nothing done. You can't even pee in peace. Anyway, yeah, I think we'll cut it that way. Roll this up on here, mark those, bend them up. That's what we're going to do. Right now? Okay. Is that a good idea? Yeah? What do you got in your mouth? What is this? Piece of rubber hose? I'm sure that's good for you. That's too far. That's too far. Son of a biscuit. I was remembering what I was going to do before, and that's not what we're going to do now. Hey, where'd you even get that? I mean, I'm not mad about that. And then we'll just set it on this, like so. We're going to cut some more out of that though. Is this necessary to trim this out like this? No, absolutely not. However, it'll bug me if I see it. So, that's what we're going to do. Alright, we're back out here the next day, and actually completely out of character for me, I was able to paint those items, the two brackets I made, and leave them alone. I found other stuff to do to stay busy, and they should have cured enough to be used now. There's the fuse block bracket, which I was being very careful with over there, and as I bolted it down, dropped it off the edge of the counter and beat it around a little bit. Looks like the only scuffs it took was on the back side where it's going to mount. And then the bracket for the PCM, the more simple one. That's good. So now we get to make up for what I forgot the first time, which was to mark where that's going to go on the inner fender so I could drill it while it was out, and hope I can drill it while it's in. Otherwise, I'll have to pull it back out. So let's see how that's going to shake out. That locked in there, and I should have took that bolt out. Stone hands. I'm going to drop everything today, I guess. And the other thing we're kind of testing here is my screw head's going to be too big and cause a problem. I'm pulling it out. Okay. Actually pretty happy with that placement right there. So we just got to get our marker and get in there and mark it. And I'm not trying to get like perfectly level with any particular line. I'm trying to get it where I think it looks best eyeball wise. Kind of like that line. Now the question is, can we get a drill in there, or do we have to pull the inner fender out again? Maybe. I'm going to try and use one of these hog bits because, not necessarily because it's the best tool for the job, but because they're shorter. And we need a 3/8 bolt. Go one more just to make sure we've got room to adjust. Probably need to get PCM down through. Where I could really use an assistant with thumbs. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. I have to wiggle it a little bit to make sure we stay away from our master cylinder. But if we're going to have to fight with it, probably should just go ahead and put the washers and stuff on it right away. Really need something to kind of hold that up. That didn't work at all. This is what I'm looking at. There's clearance. There's just not a lot of it.
Onward!
This will go like so. And there's there's a power steering line right beneath it, so that's super handy. No, that's not power steering, that's a brake line. Well, let's see how close we get. What? Is Missy out there? This guy looks like he's got a cigar hanging out of his mouth. You barking with a cigar in your mouth? What is it? Okay. What is it? What's out there? He don't know. He's just barking because he hears somebody else barking. It could well be that the supervisor is pulling in the driveway. I don't really want to put this in there yet because I don't know if I'll be able to get to him, but I think I need to make sure that as I'm flexing this, it's going to work. So, also, I've never put it in after having the bracket in place, so that could be an issue. Hey, can we stop with the woof-woofing? Be one thing if you guys actually knew what was going on. There we go, and it's in. I'm just going to get 2 more bolts in. I think I can still get to those to tighten them down. I got to go get 2 more bolts. Yes to me. Put my phone in there again and check for clearance. I did this once already, so this should be a no-brainer, but we're going to check it anyway. Oh yeah. Well, it looks like it touched the edge of it, didn't it? I wonder if that hood just touches over here. I don't know where else I can put this to see better without crushing my phone. I bet it touches this. Yeah, just touching the plastic on it. We may have to space that out a little. Acorns falling off the tree sound like I'm being bombed. But that may have to be good enough for this weekend because we're trying to get it to a car show. So it's probably going to be good enough. Space that out just a little more. Put a spacer in here. And then you probably put 2 spacers on this side. That'll twist it away from here as well as get it away from the hood a little bit. Dang it, I thought I had it figured out. Or just try and bend the fender a little bit. Let's try that. I might have just fixed it. I just fixed two problems because I made the clearance better there too. It's still just barely touching it. Oh, I don't think it hit that time. I think we're good. Good enough for me. And it sits better. It's just more level. It sits better in relation to the master. Everything is más more bueno por todo. See? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? Just pet the dog? We've got other stuff to do. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. I know this video was a little longer, but we got a lot done. We got about 3 days of work in this. And it's funny how much work you put into something that you're never going to see or that has a minimal effect. But, you know, the stuff that disappears and just fits like it looks like it should have been that way the whole time, that's kind of what I'm after with a lot of this stuff. We did make it to the car show. We actually got some hardware. Got second place in the in-progress class, which was fair. I saw the other vehicles in the in-progress class, and the one that beat us, it was better. So, congratulations to him. As far as, I promised last time that we'd have some driving video, so we may just close out with that. We'll get you guys a quick look at this stuff. If you like what we're doing, come back and see us again. Look at some of the other videos, see how we got better. Hey, do you mind? Come back and see us again. Quit! You little turd. Come back and see us again. Check out some of the other videos. We've got some Bel Air stuff, some square body stuff, the yellow Omega. And remember, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you later. Did you get stung? You guys keep playing around with them, that's what's going to happen. Got them spicy skeeters? Okay. And I almost forgot, Wyatt and I are also making some progress getting the bed fitted to this truck. More on that next go round.